The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Welcome to the InLink In Touch Forward Forum with TripAdvisors as our guests. We're excited to share information. We have Fernando Oliveira, who is has been with TripAdvisor for about 4.5 years. We've started working recently with Fernando as we implemented the last of our TripAdvisor connections for Review Express, and Fernando is going to share with us how you can, the benefits of Review Express and how you can sign up for it with your InLink connection. We also have Maud Larpent with us, and Maud we've been working with since we started the connectivity with TripAdvisor. She manages the Trip Connect integration teams, and has been quite a pleasure to work with Maud as we began our integration with TripAdvisor. We have a lot of customers that are using Trip Connect, and Maud is going to share with us some of the key ways to maximize and optimize your participation with Trip Connect Instant Booking primarily. So we're really glad to have both of them here. They've got a lot of valuable information for us today. So I'm going to be quiet and turn it over to Fernando. Fernando, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Pam. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks everyone for attending this webinar. It's great to be here with InLink to provide some more information to you, and also here with Maud that we can establish a great connection between driving reviews on TripAdvisor and then your performance with Instant Booking. But first, before that, I would like to just quickly talk to you about why reviews matter, and then we just look at the Review Express and private surveys. This is a new feature we launched in July. And then after that, Maud will take over and talk about Trip Connect. So why reviews matter, right? There you go. Before we just jump into that, I just want to put that into context, into where do reviews exist in the online content world. So in the next slide, you are able to see the different types of content you have. Yeah, there you go. And so here you're able to see the different content you have when you're dealing in the online world. So you have your paid and owned content, your branded website, your displays, ads, and etc. These you have high control over them, but in fact their influence on the travelers is either low or moderate. But then when you think of ratings and reviews, and you think of media blogs and etc., these are earned content. And although you have low control on them, they are highly influential when travelers are deciding what to do. And this is what we see next. And this is already giving you an understanding why reviews matter. So here we have some data on why reviews matter. The bottom line is that, to give you an example, yesterday I was at a shop buying a product, a shaver, from a brand I never heard of. And I was in a offline shop, just in the store. Before I bought that product, so if you think of a brand that I didn't know, you can think of independent hotels. And before I bought that product, I actually went online with my phone to read reviews about that product. And it just gives you the importance of online reviews, not only in travel, but in every different way that we're consuming nowadays. At some point, we'll be trying to find more information from other buyers, from other users, from other travelers. So it's extremely important, TripAdvisor reviews, but and reviews in itself. Then the next slide is also displaying another aspect of how important reviews can be. And this is an independent research by the Cornell Hospitality Study, where it found that a hotel is able to increase its price, the price per room, around 11% when they see an improvement in their overall rating scale. So if you think in the 5-point scale, going from 3.3 to 4.3, you're able to increase by 11% without losing any business. Again, highlighting their importance. Then after that, if you think of the reality on TripAdvisor, this is a different study that was done where it shows how users are coming back to TripAdvisor and how confident they are in the information they are reading and they're seeing. And this has a lot to do with when you're reading something about a hotel and it's creating that set of expectations in the traveler. And they're actually going to the hotel and they experience many times similar things that they are reading. You know, again, another personal example. I went to Cancun and I stayed at a hotel, and one of the, many of the reviews said, okay, do not stay in rooms facing west because, there is a generator and they were quite noisy, and book rooms in this area. And that's exactly what I, asked the hotel to do, and I did it. And I was able to see the difference because then I went around to the area where the rooms were noisier. Again, setting the expectations and having confidence in the information. And this is what users are finding with TripAdvisor, and that's why they keep coming back and back. Now, reviews are happening. How can you make them work for you? There are three main ideas that, I could advise you to take anything from today, take these three ideas. Really embrace this reality where reviews matter and they can help your business. Engage with them, so monitor them, respond to them, and engage with the tool, TripAdvisor, that's helping you collect more. And encourage, how can you encourage more reviews, more dialogue to happen? So these three ideas that you can really help you drive your business. With them in mind, think of how hotels are engaging with TripAdvisor. So there are three main ways. One of them is a review collection. So it's about encouragement. And this is what we're talking about today with Review Express. How can you use Review Express to help you encourage more reviews? The other idea is when hotels are coming to TripAdvisor and they are pulling the TripAdvisor rating and reviews to display in their own experience, online and offline. So this is about embracing their online presence and displaying this. And the third one, which is our latest one, is really about instant booking. Again, it's about the engagement with TripAdvisor, with that reality. How can you use this to capture more travelers and direct bookings directly from TripAdvisor? So let's look first at the review collection, Review Express. So what is Review Express? As it says on the screen, Review Express is an emailing solution that is available to all TripAdvisor business that are listed on the site. So this is both, this is all for hotels, restaurants, and attractions. And you're able to customize a message that you see on your left side in the actual email, and then you're able to monitor the performance on this dashboard that we offer. To give you an idea of how powerful this tool is, in the next slide we have a case study, which is the Meriton Service Apartments out of Australia. They use Review Express, and by using it, they were able to collect 65% more reviews. So this is what we've seen across the board with hotels that are using Review Express. They're able to collect on average 33% more reviews. We have cases where they go up to 65 or sometimes even more. And what we also have seen, as you see in this case study, is that it helps them improve their ranking on TripAdvisor. So in this case, they had 10 out of 13 properties improve their ranking. The other three are not mentioned here because they were already in a very high ranking. But what it helped them do for these three was to maintain their ranking they already achieved. And super important here, these hotels started getting a lot more page views, 60% more page views. Again, I'll just jump a bit forward, but if you think of instant booking, you're doing instant booking and Review Express, you see the value here. You're driving a lot more page views, potentially more bookings. Now, one new feature that we included as part of the Review Express experience is private surveys. So this was launched in July, and what allows you to do, it allows you to incorporate in the Review Express experience a survey, which is private. We're not displaying this anywhere on TripAdvisor. You're able to pick from a set of questions that we have created, and you're able to publish this survey. What happens in the actual experience is that when a guest receives a Review Express email from a hotel that has published the survey, they'll click on the link to review the hotel, and they'll first be prompted to answer the survey, and after that they'll have the chance to write a review. This is very simple, and again, it's a very powerful way to drive that additional engagement and with your guests, and also encourage more information. Another example, a real example from a hotel in the UK that started using this system, and they were convinced that the quality of their mattresses was excellent. And through this survey, they were able to find out that actually guests were not so happy with them, and they were able to order new mattresses. Now, in the next slide is just a quick summary of the benefits of Review Express. So one point, there is no cost on TripAdvisor. It's fast and easy. It's an excellent way to drive additional valuable exposure. It's customizable. I mean, you are able to customize the template in multiple languages that we support, so it's about 30 now. It's really about creating this systematic process to encourage guests to write a review. And as I mentioned, supported in all the different languages. Now, I just want to cover with you, how can you actually automate the process? So you think, okay, you're connected to InLink, and you want to do Review Express. What do you need to do? The next step is really, you go to your TripAdvisor account in your management center, and from there you click on Review Express Center. So you would land on the page that you see on your left, and you should be able to see an option that says opt-in, as you can see highlighted here. By clicking on that option, you'll be able to select your provider, InLink. You select InLink, which will take you to the next page, where you'll be able to accept the terms and conditions, and will prompt you to enter the from email. Now, what I want to highlight here is that TripAdvisor Review Express works a bit like MailChimp. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's an emailing tool where TripAdvisor is powering the send of the email. But from a guest point of view, the actual experience, the from email, it's from whatever email the hotel decides to use. So in many cases, they decide to use reservation at the hotel name, info at the hotel name. And as a user, when I get the email, that's what I will see. In the next slide, I'll show you the actual template and how you can customize it. But yeah, as you can see, you're able to edit the from email in the subject line. So again, from a guest point of view, when I see that, I'll see whatever subject line you chose. You're able to add a photo. So this could be your logo, could be a different photo that that you decide to use. You're able to edit the text, and you're able to do this in all the different languages that we support, right? And you save this as a template. We'll then pick that up according to whatever information is passed to us, and we'll send that to the guest. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, all this, you're able to monitor the performance of all these emails that are going out in this dashboard. And from there, you're able to, to see how many reviews are being collected, but you're also able to download the results of the private survey if you're using them. But I think, this is really Review Express. One thing that I clearly showed with one of the case studies is that by using it, you are able to drive more page views. And I think that's, thinking of that, I would like Maud to come in out to talk about instant booking and really bring the two together. So Maud, over to you.
Thank you, Fernando. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Just echoing, we're really excited to be partnering with InLink. It's been really fun to work with Pam and the team and add those features to what's available to InLink's customers. And the response has been great for instant booking. We've got a lot of hotels that are already opted in to participate into instant booking. So if some of you are joining us today and you have questions about participating in instant booking, or you're currently live and you've got some questions about your performance, please feel free to use the little chat functionality of the webinar tool, and we'll address those at the end. Similarly, if you've got questions about Review Express, you can send those through the chat and we'll have a little Q&A at the end if any of you want to touch on this. So just a little reminder on what is instant booking. So instant booking is a new product that TripAdvisor has rolled out in the last few months. And what it means is that potential guests, users of TripAdvisor, are now able to book a room in a hotel without having to leave the TripAdvisor site. So while before, the TripAdvisor meta search would drive a potential guest to your own website or to an online travel agency's website to finalize their booking, now we're able to have that user choose their room and read all the different room options that are available, what different rate types are available, give us their details, and actually finalize that booking without having to leave TripAdvisor. We've implemented a very deep integration with InLink, which allows us to do this, so that the booking is really smooth. The booking experience is really smooth for the consumer, and for you as a hotel, you have all the benefits from the direct bookings. The booking goes straight into your InLink CRS, and you're able to get as much information about the guests as you would if they had booked directly on your own website. This model is a commission-based model, so we only charge you for stays that are consumed. So we will invoice you at the beginning of the month. We'll send you a statement for the bookings that were consumed or checked out the month before, and you'll have an opportunity to reconcile those bookings to make sure that we don't charge you for bookings that have been cancelled, and you will then be charged at the end of the month for those consumed bookings. So it's really low risk for you. You are really able to get very much a lot of transparency on your return on investment for those bookings, and you're able to really build a relationship with the guest from the moment that they make the booking. You don't have to wait until they come to your hotel and check in. Now, I'm sure some of you are already seeing some of those bookings come through, or maybe some of you are have opted in but have not seen bookings yet. So I wanted to go over some optimization techniques or things to look out for to make sure that you make the most out of this new product that we've rolled out. So the first one seems pretty obvious, but it's really important for you to check that all of the rates that you have set up in InLink are properly set up to flow through to TripAdvisor. So it's, this, you've got a screenshot here of the Capri Motel. If the Capri Motel had not set up their rates properly, we would not be able to show this, this room right there. So it's important for you to go through how your rates are set up and ensure that there's nothing that would prevent those rates from flowing through to TripAdvisor. Now, once that is done, let's look at those rates specifically. So in the next slide, you will see that for your rates to appear in this instant booking placement, they need to be eligible. And the way that we define eligibility from the TripAdvisor perspective is, if a user looks at this rate in the meta search context, so with other online travel agencies or other channels showing rates next to it, is the consumer likely to book that rate? And we've done a lot of testing, and we've realized that if the rate is a lot more expensive than the rates that we're getting through online travel agencies, then no one will book that rate. So we're not even showing them on the website if the rate is more expensive than the median of the other rates that we're getting through the meta search. But yeah, so just to summarize, before showing your rate, we would look at your rate, but compare it to all the other rates we're getting in the meta search. And if it's more expensive than the median of those rates, then it would not be displayed on the TripAdvisor site because we know for a fact that it will not get booked. So we give you a little margin. You can be a little bit more expensive than the median, so that's to cater for maybe currency exchange rates or discrepancies or things like that. But really, at the end of the day, if you were looking at this and you had the option to book for $749 on an online travel agency or $950 directly with the hotel, very few people would actually book directly with the hotel. So this would not actually happen on TripAdvisor. That rate would be filtered out. So going on to the next slide. So yeah, the rate would not appear. The next slide, please. There we go. So the other aspect that we're looking at and that we know impact the conversion are the qualitative content that you're providing and that we are able to display onto TripAdvisor. So all of this information, again, we pull directly from InLink. So if you have issues with your cancellation policy or your descriptions, you don't need to maintain that on TripAdvisor. You can just update everything in InLink and we'll pick those changes up immediately. So if a rate or a room type that you're providing through InLink to TripAdvisor has missing room name or room description or cancellation policy, then that room would be filtered out. So that's filtered out at the room level. So if you have a room that is badly configured and you forgot to enter a cancellation policy, that might explain why that room type specifically is not getting passed through to TripAdvisor. Similarly, if the cancellation policy or the room name are shorter than a certain number of characters, it would be filtered out. I think it's, I need to check my notes, but it's 7 characters for the cancellation policy and the room description and 4 characters for the room name. So something again to check, but overall, put yourselves in the shoes of the travelers and think about, look at your content. How is it displayed on TripAdvisor? How is it going to be displayed on TripAdvisor? And is it compelling? Is it engaging? Is it understandable? Are you able to really understand the cancellation policy, or are you using some jargon that someone outside of the industry wouldn't understand? So that's kind of a few things that you should really be looking out for. So the most important one is the rate. But then once you've got the rate eligibility, but once you've got that ironed out and you're on top of your rate distribution, then have a look at your qualitative content to make sure that it's really engaging and it's going to drive those potential guests to book directly with you. So those were just a few tips that I put together for today. And as Fernando explained, those products that TripAdvisor and InLink have built together and made available to you, they work really well hand in hand. The more reviews you will get on TripAdvisor, the more likely you'll get more visitors looking at your page, and the more likely you are to then get those visitors to book directly with you through instant bookings. So we feel that those products really complement each other very well. And we hope you feel the same. I don't know if we've had any questions. Well,
we do have some questions, and I'll start with the first one. It says, if we use InLink for instant booking connection, aren't we paying the 12 to 15% commission to TripAdvisor and then a GDS and pass-through fee to InLink, further cutting our margins? And in fact, that's a great question. I'm glad I get the chance to talk about it. You will get an InLink reservation fee, but you will not get a GDS pass-through fee. There is no GDS pass-through fee on the TripAdvisor reservations. And because it uses our booking engine, I'm getting feedback. Because it uses the booking engine functionality, it's actually a lower cost reservation fee than a GDS reservation fee would be. So it is a much more cost-effective reservation, and your booking engine fee will be based on whether you pay your GDS fee on percentage or dollar amount. It can be either one. If you already use our booking engine, it will be whatever your current booking engine fee is. But even if you don't use our booking engine, it's a lower cost fee than what the GDS reservation fee is, and there would be no pass-through. So we've tried to keep it very cost-effective for our hotel, and it's not near as expensive as a GDS reservation. It's only a piece of that. So, actually, the next question is for Fernando. How does TripAdvisor get the email addresses of guests in order to send a survey?
Sorry, Pam, how do we receive that information?
Yes.
Yes. Well, this is a part of the connectivity we established with InLink. So InLink has built against the Review Express API. So basically for all the direct bookings that you would get through the InLink booking engine, they will pass that information to us on checkout. As long as the guest has agreed to receive communication from the hotel, that information is passed to us, and then the Review Express is sent to the guest 48 hours after checkout. But this is only happening for the hotels that have done what I showed you previously, was to opt in to Review Express. So a hotel needs to opt in first, and then the system starts to work in the background. So it's a bit like you can set it and forget it and just see, more reviews coming through, and hopefully, your ranking, your page views going up, and ultimately lots of direct booking through instant booking.
Okay, Maud, the next question is for you. Is the Book Now button format on instant booking different than originally shown when the tool was launched, or is it different if the hotel has a business listing?
That's a great question. So the display does not vary depending on the business listings subscription or not. It would be the same across hotels. However, we've tested a few different button formats and placements. So we, for a while when we rolled out, and I think that some of the screenshots that we showed when we first did one of those webinars to introduce instant booking, the button was integrated within the top 3 buttons on the left-hand side. Well, now we've got the flyout on the right-hand side with a dedicated placement for instant booking. So we're constantly testing. If you're a user of TripAdvisor, you'll probably realize that what you're looking at tends to change on a regular basis. We have a lot of tests running for all the components of the TripAdvisor website experience. So this happened at the moment. The one that I showed in the screenshots today is the most prevalent way that we would display instant booking. But as everything with TripAdvisor, we're always testing what performs better from the user experience perspective and for our partners, our hotel partners. So nothing's ever set in stone, but at the moment, the most prevalent look and feel would be that fly out on the right-hand side of the mess search box.
Okay, Maud. Sorry. Another question from Maud. with instant booking, why do only 50% of the TripAdvisor views go to the hotel and the other 50% go to the OTAs? Why don't you take all of those for the hotel?
That's a great question. So the 50%, so just for if everyone's not familiar with this, as a hotel, when you opt into instant booking, you've got two options in terms of the commission level. One's at 12% and one is at 15%. And what those commissions do is that they give you a guarantee of impressions. So it means that you will get at least 25% of the impressions or traveler views on this button if you bid at 12% commission, and it's 50% of the impressions if you bid at 15%. But those shares are floors, they're not caps. So all it's saying is that beyond the 50%, the hotel could be capturing more than that. All we're saying is that we're not guaranteeing it to the hotel. So beyond the 50%, it becomes an auction. So we're comparing, okay, who's got the best rate, who's got the best conversion rate, who's got the best or least cancellation rate, and then we do the math of which is going to perform better. And it could be that the hotel can get more than their 50% if they tick all those boxes and they perform really well, or if they, are not doing so great on some of those aspects, and the OTAs that participate in instant booking and that the hotel works with could potentially capture some of those impressions. So think about it as a guaranteed floor rather than as a cap.
Okay, Fernando, this is a question for you. What about customers that come to the hotel through another booking engine than the InLink booking engine? How do we include them in the survey?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So the question is, based on, what about customers who book with the hotel through another booking engine? They don't use the InLink booking engine on their website. How do they get those customers included in the survey?
Yes, I understand. Well, one option that they could do is to use Review Express manually, with the survey. So the difference is that they would go to the Review Express Center, as I showed, and they would manually upload a list of emails. So it's an Excel file. It's very simple. They could customize the message. They upload the list of emails, and then they will send that through the system, and then everything else will work the same way. And the guest will be prompt to answer the survey and then write a review.
And they can do the same thing for clients that come through offline. If they book on the phone but they've collected the email address at check-in, they can absolutely upload those manually as well through the manual tool. It's just not automated as well as it is if the bookings are captured in InLink.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got the input that there was some bad feedback when I was answering a question about the InLink fees. And just to repeat that, the InLink fees are only a booking engine fee, and they are less than the GDS reservation fees, and they do not include any pass-through fees. So this is a much more cost-effective reservation. And if you do not use our booking engine and you need to talk to your account manager about what your booking engine fee would be for TripAdvisor, they are available to do that.
Did you get any other questions, Pam?
I don't see any others at this point. If I've missed one. You can email us and we'll get a response from the webinar to be able to do that. But I think we've answered all of them that I see. So lots of great questions, and we always appreciate that. That means you're engaged. And we definitely appreciate that. And we hope this has been useful and valuable. And we'll look forward to. We will record this. We have recorded this, and if you have other colleagues that would like to listen to it, it will be available. Probably tomorrow. So thank you for joining us. Much success with driving visibility and volume through TripAdvisor. Tk you, Fernando and Maud, for your participation.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks.